Hey guys, it's Greg. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to be talking about why you need to just quit freaking out about the tube shortage already. Now, I know what you're thinking.
But Greg, haven't you seen all the Facebook groups and all the other YouTube videos? There's no more tubes! There's no more tubes! There's no more tubes!
Well, shut up and don't be silly. That is super not true, and we're going to go through all the reasons why. You're welcome. Okay, so as we all know, in the last week or so, we've seen nothing but YouTube videos kind of spreading fear and panic, and tons of Facebook group posts.
Oh my god, every website in the world's out of tubes! This is the death of tube amps! I need to buy a modeler!
Well, shut up, alright? That's just stupid. And we're going to go through 9 reasons why. Okay? Starting with number 1. Okay, so number 1, alright? Now, changing tubes comes up about as often as changing a light bulb in your house, but honestly, probably even less. Think about if there was a light bulb shortage right now. Would you go,
oh my god, I gotta get a light bulb!
Well, no, because you probably have, 20 to 30 different light bulbs in your house. When was the last time you changed one? Maybe one goes out a year. So if you think about how long a light bulb lasts, I don't know, change it once every 3 to 5 years. Tubes last, probably 2 to 3 times longer than that. So it's not like, oh my God, It's something that, again, almost is never going to come up. Most of your amps, especially if you have multiple amps, it doesn't even matter. But again, everyone's just so quick to, well, think about it for half of a second and just realize, when was the last time you even did it? Probably never, or, it's been years. Okay, point number 2. Well, how long do tubes usually last? I mean, realistically, 5 to 10 years, maybe one preamp tube will go out, you'll change that. It's not like you're always changing tubes, but everyone's having a meltdown over this. I mean, really, before you freak out and go, me, and start doing that, think about the last time you even changed a tube. I guarantee you, in the last decade, it's been either 0, 1, or maybe 2 times max. I mean, there's nothing you're doing that's good, unless you have a head that's broken or something. You're like,
oh, I gotta change my tubes every 6 months. Oh!
Okay, point number 3. Now, how many times in over 20 years of playing have I actually changed my tubes? Okay, in 20 years of playing, I've changed tubes maybe once or twice. I had a Mesa triple rectifier that I used for years, 8 years straight, of non-stop, kind of gigging, rehearsals, everything under the sun for hours at a time. I probably put 10 hours a week on my amp, and I bought it used, so the only reason I even retubed the whole thing is because I didn't even know how long the tubes were when I got it. Did I need to do the whole thing? No, but it was just kind of preventative. So think about that. And a lot of this stuff is just preventative. When was the last time you turned on your amp
and oh my god, all my power tubes and my preamp tubes are out?
Never. Point number 4. Now, most people, especially if you're one of these guys on one of these Facebook groups, most people have multiple amps. I have multiple amps. Almost everyone watching this has multiple amps. So think about that. If you're playing, one amp one day, a different amp another day, one amp one week, a different amp the other week, then it really doesn't matter. You're barely even wearing the tubes at all, because you're rotating them out. You don't only have one amp. They're just sitting there constantly playing. Think about how much are you even really playing per week anyways. Probably not enough because you need to practice more. Duh. But, especially if you have 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 amps like half these guys do, that's enough amps, and tubes to last for 100 years. So, oh my God, maybe a decade from now, one preamp tube goes out in one of them.
Oh my God, tube shortage.
Okay, point number 5, and probably the most important one. Everyone's panic buying, just like the stupid toilet paper thing. So you're just making the shortage worse. You're making the prices skyrocket, and then you're complaining,
oh my God, I can't find tubes anywhere. And the one place I found them, they're like, you're charging like $1,000. Oh!
Well, duh, because you're all doing this, so you're just making it worse. Dummies. Point number 6. Now, I can only really see this mattering to people like gigging pros. People like in huge bands that are constantly touring. You're playing all over the world. You're playing tons of different venues. You're playing for, months at a time on the road, and you're actually wearing your tubes. I mean, if you're just sitting at your home, which most of you guys are, playing in your bedroom, or even if you're only practicing once a week with your band, or you have one show a month, I mean, think about how much tube time are you really burning through? Really nothing. You're playing at low volumes, which barely even wears the tubes, right? These pros are playing at high volumes in huge stadiums, all kinds of different road conditions and things. Those are the only guys that really need to worry about this tube shortage. Point number 7. Now, I've seen a bunch of people in response to this be like,
well, I guess it's time to buy a modeler. Oh, I guess I'm going all digital.
Okay, well, let's think for 2 seconds about how stupid that is. Okay, so there's a temporary tube shortage. Now, most tube amps, again, can last almost a lifetime if you keep care of them, right? But let's just say you did. Let's say you want to go, I'm going to get a modeler. There's no more tubes. Okay, well, the average price of a modeler for a decent one to good one is about $1,500. Now, obviously, there's some that are less. There are some that are way more. But here's the disadvantage of a modeler, and specifically what we're going to be talking about. Modelers are only around for a year or two, then they're obsolete, and then the new one comes out. And then whenever you get a quad cortex version 2 comes out. You get a helix stomp comes out. Whatever. There's every 6 months there's a new flash of the pan. Oh my god, this is the new one. Everyone's got to get this. So if you did that, right, and you spent $1,500, you got a modeler, 2 years from now, it's obsolete, the latest, greatest ones come out, you spend another $1,500 and so on. Think about that. When you could have just waited for some tubes to pop up and bought them for $100 or less. So which one's cheaper, which one makes more sense? And even if you could never play one of your tube amps again and you bought it today, okay, and the tubes went out a decade from now because you're just chugging it home, okay? So for $500 you can get $550 you can get an Origin 20 Marshall amp, full EL34 tube amp, right? That'll last you for a decade. Does that make more sense, or freaking out and going and buying a modeler and spending $1,500 5 times in the next 10 years? Which one makes more sense? Okay, again, quit freaking out. It'll be fine, and just wait until you can find some tubes. Okay, point number 8. Now, Kyle Rhodes, the head of KSR Amplification, just posted on his Facebook group yesterday or the day before that they have over 700 tubes in stock and they have another shipment coming in, so they're fine. Again, if there was such a tube shortage and it was really affecting the people making the tube amps, then that would be a big thing, but it's not. So clearly it's just a temporary thing. We don't have to lose our minds about it. If they're coming out and saying, hey, we have over 700, we have other orders coming in that aren't being delayed, then clearly there's not, oh my god, it's the end of the tube amp, it's the end of the world. Woo! Okay, so again, just relax. Everything's fine. Okay, and the last point, number 9. By the time you honestly really need to retube this, the tube shortage is probably going to be over. Again, unless you're cranking your amp and playing at stadium level volumes or something all the time, you're barely even wearing your tubes. If you're just sitting at home playing occasionally through your amps, you're not even cranking them loud enough to even really cook the tubes and wear on them at all. So, if the tube shortage is over in a year, if it's 6 months, if it's 2 years, whatever it is, the odds that you're even going to need to retube it by then are slim to none. There's going to be a few guys that waited too long because they have been gigging and they're like, oh crap, I wish I would have got it. Okay, whatever. But especially if you just got your amp in the last 6 months, year, 2 years, whatever, again, it's probably going to be 5 to 10 years before you need to do it. So why are we freaking out? Oh my god, I can't get tubes I probably won't need for a decade. Okay, so let's quit being stupid, put this into perspective, and just relax. Alright guys, so that'll do it for this video. And again, I had to make this video because every YouTuber and every Facebook group and everything seems to be doing the opposite and everyone's panicking. And again, this is just, self-fulfilling prophecy here. The same thing with the toilet paper. There's plenty of toilet paper if you don't just go out and panic buy it all and freak out about it, okay? So same thing, right? Just remember, relax, it's temporary. It'll pass just like everything else. Let's focus on something that, actually matters and not just make this World War III out of nothing. This is really stupid. And shut up. Don't be silly. You're welcome. Okay, as always, like, share, subscribe. Join my Patreon if you want one-on-one lessons with me. My email is in the video description below. And I will summon you for the next video. Point number... Is that the right...
Jesus.
That's a good outtake. To make sure that was right. Is Hammer right the one that can't count?
Yeah.